Welcome to a program that is called Mature Living, produced and presented by El Paso Community College. You may be confused looking at this scene today because I'm Leon Blevins and I have a program known as Perspectives El Paso. This is the first week of May of 2017. A week ago, I was honored here in El Paso as an older senior citizen Hall of Famer. And I received that designation because a good friend of mine, Mary Yanez, who has the Mature Living Show, recommended me for that. And she got me into volunteering with her program in 1990. And I have her here today on her set. Welcome to the Mature Living Show, Mary.
Thank you. Oh, this is quite a switch.
It is a switch. In the past, you've used me as a guest host, and here we are again. And my question to you is, how did you get into producing and being involved in your television show back in the 1990s?
Well, in 1989, I was working with the community college. I was a print shop manager. And at that time, a position opened up, a lateral move, to work with the senior adult program as a coordinator of events. Mm-hmm. I decided to move. I decided to go from printing, from the print shop, over to working with people, senior citizens, and that was the senior adult program. So as I got to learn about serving the elderly and learning about classes that they wanted, working with the program, in 1991, Danny Mata approached me, who was the director of EPCC TV at the time, approached me and said, Mary, can you come to my office? And so I said yes, and I showed up, and he says, you know, I was in Carlsbad, and my father-in-law and I were sitting on the porch, and he said to Danny, you run that TV show over there at EPCC at the community college. Why are there not more programs for us old folks, for us senior citizens? Everything is directed to the young.
And Danny thought of you.
And Danny thought of me. So at that time he says, Mary, that's a great question. And he said, how would you like a half-hour TV show that we could produce locally here at the college, and we can show and highlight seniors in the community, services for the seniors? And I said, a TV show? I said, I don't have any experience. I'll take it.
Now, you've been doing this show for 25 years.
25 years.
Tell us about some of the people you worked with. Let's deal first with the staff, the people. Who were some of the first people that Danny had you working with to put on the show?
Well, you know, the concept was, and when we begin to talk about the show, meet with Nacho Acosta, who was the sound technician, Asa Maxey, who was the first producer director, and they called me a co-producer because we were collaborating. Mario was also working in the cameras, and so when we met, we were thinking of a title. What do we call this show? I mean, going way back, we didn't have a title of the show. So Nacho Acosta came up with Mature Living. And then we said, okay, this show, the philosophy is the show for seniors by seniors. So I wasn't quite a senior at that time, early 50s, I think. And so we decided to invite Davy Johnson, Frank Rojas, and Teresa Aguirre to be and Fermin. Fermin also was one of the Ramirez, were the first hosts. And so they interviewed me at that time, and I think we have a little clip about the interview. It was quite awkward. The very first show, the seniors were, my name is, and this is, and they would turn to the co-host. It just, and now it's like, it's so natural now, right, Leon? Mm-hmm. But you can imagine how scared we all were as we were trying to make this show happen. That was 25 years ago. It's amazing.
Well, didn't it help that it was a taped show, that it was not going out live?
Thank goodness. Yes, it was taped. And there were a lot of errors and bloopers, they call them. And so, we learned as we went. none of us had any television experience or had any degrees in journalism or media production, and so it was quite a brave thing to do. Is to say, I'll do it. I'll do the show.
Now, for this special occasion, 25 years of shows, no idea of how many, over 1,000 shows probably that you've done.
Probably way over 1,000.
Out of those, let's kind of break this up. The early days, who were some of the more interesting people you interviewed? And maybe you're going to follow this up with maybe some other shows, and you'll be able to put in a lot of visuals from these previous shows.
Yes, and the way to show 25 years ago, think about the hairdos.
Okay.
Think about the look, the times. And so it's really funny to see these old shows and what we look like.
Give me 2 or 3 of the earliest ones that you found really interesting people.
Well, one of the ones is Yvonne Bonilla, who was working at the college, was really good at cooking. And so she did the Yvonne's Kitchen.
Okay.
And so that was very nice of people to come forward. And we also interviewed Lucha Villa, who is a Mexican singer, very popular at the time. And so Fermin Ramirez interviewed her in Spanish. We had Maria Teresa and Mr. Rojas, Frank Rojas, and Davy Johnson interviewed different guests. And they included interviewing me. And so thinking back, one of the highlights, and I don't know if we have a clip of this, but Ollie was a senior, 90-year-old at Memorial Senior Center. He was a riot when we went out there. He made us laugh. He told jokes. He had quite a sense of humor. And we used to go out into the community, to the senior centers, for Halloween dances and costumes. We were there.
I've been to some of them. That's a big task to take the crew out on those.
It was. And we did a lot of that. We're doing more studio taping and recording of the show these days, but I'd like to go back out in the community.
Oh, my. Now, in the middle period of that 25 years, who were some of the more interesting people that you had on?
We've been to the zoo, interviewed people at the zoo. We've been to, we had Halloween kind of specials. We had an Easter bonnet contest. Rosa Guerrero has been to our show. Many guests. You can imagine. The way we structured the program was not a half-hour, one guest. And we structured the program right from the beginning. We wanted it to move fast.
Well, I remember that my wife and I were on your program at some point back then and addressed as pilgrims for Thanksgiving. And we'd do some, our daughter and granddaughter, about the 4th of July, patriotic clothing and things. And those were special things. And it wasn't just that you brought in always seniors, but many times you brought in people that worked with seniors.
Absolutely. And the concept was to interview several guests with several topics in one show. Magazine type fast. And that, and as you entertainment today it does that. They go in and out and and so we wanted it to move fast. We wanted music. We wanted to go out in the community. We had interviews. We interviewed organizations that provided services for seniors. We interviewed people that had community events, so seniors could go to these community events. We also highlighted seniors in the community. I remember interviewing a lady in her 80s. She was 80 years old, and what she did, and this was Miss Bright. I think her name was Mary Bright. She decided that on her 80th birthday, she was going to jump out of a plane, and she did.
Oh my! With a parachute, of course.
Yes, and with a guide, I'm sure, on the back of somebody.
Right.
An expert, and her sons were attorneys here in town, and they just thought, "Mom, are you crazy? No, that's what I want to do," and she did it. And so seniors like that we met over the years. Amazing.
Everybody has a story to tell, and you've heard a lot of their stories.
Yes, and I wish I could remember every single one, but it's been quite a ride, quite an experience to have hosted and produced and co-directed in a sense, and been involved in a TV show that has run 25 years. I was kind of comparing a little bit, and I learned that Estela Casas was in Channel 4 back 25 years ago. So you can imagine how long she's been on TV.
Right.
When we've been on TV about as long, that's a good comparison. And she looks great, by the way.
Well, with your show, you have 3 segments, like 3 8-minute segments, right?
Yes.
And then Claire Rodriguez, an assistant for you and for me,
Yeah,
she helps. It's
helping us
madness
now.
to try to round them all up and be sure they actually show up for the program.
Yes.
How do you deal with those kind of things when someone doesn't show up?
You know, we are flexible. And because we pre-tape the show or we tape the show, we can always insert. Sometimes we'll have interviews, like we say, in the can, waiting on the side in case we need. We go out in the community. As a matter of fact, we've gone fishing with the kids. We went in and taped that fishing, wonderful in the summer at Escarate Lake, a community event, free for children. We've got B-roll, they call it. We've got some interviews that we've done over there. We can always insert. So the technicians, the editors, Marco Lara is one of them. Pat Ebert, of course, is the director of EPCC TV and supervisor. And we have Carol Barquin now. We have Jaime and everybody that helps. We couldn't do it with a team.
Yeah, we have Jenny Herone, who's there in that place now, putting it together.
The vice president.
We think back to the very
IT.
beginning, and now she's come along here. Some of the more recent interviews, we've seen changes in culture.
Yes.
We've seen changes in politics. So who are some of the more recent guests that you've had that you think are kind of little gems?
Yeah. Well, I think interviewing presidents of this institution has been quite an experience. I interviewed Dr. Rhodes, and with his father, and his father lived in Alamogordo, and that was a touching moment. Let me tell you, we were almost in tears because they told each other how much they loved each other. He's gone. Dr. Richard Rhodes' dad is gone now. Those are gems. I mean, those are things you can't invent. You can't act.
Right.
Dr. Serrata recently, our new president, Dr. William Serrata, that was a very nice interview that I enjoyed. I know you've interviewed a lot of very more famous personalities, but also digging into the community. And I think, like EPCC, we are part of the community. We are the community. And so we highlight people in grassroots, volunteers, people that are serving, that are giving and helping each other.
Now, I know in your program that you also deal with artists. You've had some of the artists on the show. Tell me about some of them.
Absolutely. Alberto Escamilla has been on the show quite a few times with his wife. He's a tremendous artist. We've had others that have brought their beautiful paintings. I can't think of all of the names of the artists, but the arts are beautiful. Music is beautiful. We also recorded our seniors mariachi group with the EPCC Continuing Education Mariachi, and they performed for us. We've had singers that have come to sing for Mother's Day, Father's Day, and so we've just kind of had a bit of a mix of mature living and some of the guests that we put on.
Now, you and I have done Grandparents' Day programs over the years, and, and I helped you get started a literacy action program for seniors.
I love that one. Revive
Reading.
Revive Reading.
And some people say, why are you spending so much time on these seniors? Isn't that a waste of time? And I say, no, it's not a waste of time. We're supposed to live life to the fullest. We're supposed to be lifelong learners. What do you think about that?
Well, thinking about mature living, this is only a part of what we do with the Senior Adult Program. As a director of the Senior Adult Program, we provide over 60 sections of classes each semester, free classes for seniors, lifelong learning. And among those classes are music, art, language. We have health, exercise, wellness. And so mature living is only a little part of what we do with the Senior Adult Program. And I wanted to highlight that not only are they learning in the classroom, but they take it one step further. They take, as an example, the chorus class. They go and perform in the community. They perform at all our community events, such as we have a Christmas Navidad on the border that you've been a Santa with us at. And also Shanna, your wife, was Mrs. Santa one year. We go to the Chamizal. We've gone to the Chamizal and presented concerts. We have the Grandparents' Day celebration. We always celebrate Grandparents' Day in September. And we have shows and wonderful events, big events, very well attended. The Love Conference, we sponsor through the Senior Adult Program. And so we have footage of all of these different events over the years. And so the Love Conference is it's in February usually, around Valentine's. And it is about love. It is about not only loving yourself, but being able to appreciate seniors. They've opened doors. They've broken down barriers. They've educated us. They are the ones that vote. They are the seniors that are sometimes more active than some of the young people.
That's true.
The young people say, I'm tired, I'm bored. And the seniors are out there, just doing the senior games, staying active. We want them active and healthy.
Now, these things correlate with one another because if you round up someone to be on the show, then you end up enlisting some of them to be in these other events.
Exactly.
And also on the other side, some of them that are in those events, you end up enlisting to come and being on the show.
And it's about community. We help each other, and we network. And El Paso's so good about networking. We're not the type of people that hang on to contacts and I don't want to tell anybody. No, we just tell everybody, come to Mature Living, tell us about your projects, invite the community to be volunteers, to stay active, to come to your events. And we're a sounding voice here at the college with perspectives and with the Mature Living Show.
Now, you've been to many of these senior citizens. I guess you've been to all of the senior citizen centers in this area.
Yes, I have. Yes.
And
at one
you
time or another.
see them there. And you mentioned the elderly man at Memorial Park.
Oh, and gosh, it was so funny.
And those kind of things that are what I call crystal moments. You'll never forget them. They're in your memory bank.
Yes.
It has to do with personalities that come along.
And some of the people that were on the show have gone. They've passed. And they've left us some great memories. One year I interviewed my dad, my father, and he's gone. And he was a Bowie High School graduate in the first graduating class. Can you imagine?
Oh, my goodness.
And so he talked about his teachers. He still remembered his teachers' names. And he was like in his 80s when I interviewed him. How could that not be treasures?
Right.
How could Mature Living not be a treasure for this community?
One of my memorable moments on your show was you interviewed me about Father's Day. And we had a discussion about what it means to be a father, and I mentioned especially how much my stepfather had meant to me in my life and the foundation for the things that I was doing.
Yes.
Those are great moments also.
I think Mature Living, the legacy that we have built in our silver anniversary, 25 years, will go on. Because of the people that have walked through these doors, that have sat on the couches, that have shared conversations, stories, beautiful stories, very touching stories, and I think I will always have that in my memory of the experience of working with the El Paso Community College for the last 43 years or so, and having the opportunity to serve my community through my job as an employee of the college.
Yeah. Now, we've even enlarged that legacy a little bit more recently because for years YouTube comes along and it's showing everybody's activities all over the world and all of this. And I asked one time, why can't we get some stuff on YouTube? And Cheryl Bowman, one of the employees in this building, and I talked to a man who was in charge of some of that, and Marco Lara, and made it possible to put some of these shows on YouTube. So we need to mention that, and they can go to YouTube, EPCC TV, and they can click and they can scroll down and see some of your shows and my shows and some of the other shows that have been produced. And some of my relatives are watching them in other places in this country, and they sometimes call and tell their opinions about what they saw on the show.
You know, one of the things that has happened, I'm sure to you as well, is that we get stopped in the grocery store, and someone will stop me and they'll look at me and you look familiar. Where have I seen you before? Or do I know you? and they'll say that, and I'll say, and I'll wait. I will not say I'm on television, that I've been on, you know, with Mature Living, on KCOS, and of course EPCC TV on cable, 1413. And I won't say anything. I'll just see how I do know them, because I haven't seen, maybe they're a relative or something I haven't seen in a long time. So I just pause and I wait, and they go, oh, you're the lady on television.
My funniest one was at a restaurant just 2 blocks from this studio. I was with a former guest. We went out to eat lunch. I bought his lunch for him. And a man comes up to me, we're in the line, and he touches my cheek. Oh. And he says, oh, you're real. I see you on TV. You're real.
Yeah, that's funny.
You haven't had that happen, have you?
No, but I was stopped at the confessional one time. I was in line in confession, at church, and the lady says, you're the lady on TV. I love your program. And I go, and I learned so much. And so that's what we want. We want to help to educate the seniors in this community, families in this community, and bring about awareness of services and programs and events and things to do, and don't stay home, and stay active and stay engaged in community. Make new friends at the Love Conference.
Yeah, right.
And join us in everything and anything that we do.
Now, along the way, what major changes did you recommend that be done? I see you have a beautiful set here. I'm still dealing with a plain set, 2 chairs or a couch and a chair and a little table and all of this. You've seen changes in the way your program is done.
As a matter of fact, going back to the past, blast from the past, the very first set, we had a picket fence, we had garden furniture, just garden furniture from the garden, and we put up, and then I went out in the community, and I remember going to Palisades Senior Community and said, do you have any furniture that you could lend us for a brand new TV show that we're doing, and a lamp, and
Right.
they did. They gave us a little end table, a lamp that I still have. I still have the end table, a coffee table, and a couch and a chair. We still have it. It's sitting in my office. It's like an archive.
Antique.
It's an antique. And that was 25 years ago. And finally, we got this beautiful set, very colorful. I went out shopping, and thank goodness that Dr. Hiron was able to provide us with a nice set for EPCC TV. And of course, it's used quite a bit.
And we also need to remind the public that KCOS, public television station, moved from UTEP over to here. It's right next door to this studio. And they even began to carry your program and my program and some of the Biz program and so on their channel. And we need to give them a thanks.
Absolutely. One of the things that I recall about those early years is they found out about Mature Living, and they saw there was a need in their station, in the public station, to promote programs for seniors and highlight seniors. So what they did, they approached the college, they approached Danny Mata, and they said, we want Mature Living on the public television station, KCOS.
Wow.
But we want you to do a show in Spanish, because they wanted to reach the Spanish-speaking seniors. Because the English-speaking seniors were getting all the information about services and events, and the Spanish-speaking seniors. So they wanted to reach the Spanish-speaking audience. And so we started then taping the Spanish show.
Wow.
So today, and still today, we do 3 shows a month in English. And the last weekend of the last week of each month, we do a Spanish show. And that's been difficult for me, by the way.
You're a bundle of energy. It took a lot of energy to do that.
Can you imagine? And of course, I'm not I understand Spanish. I read some Spanish, but to be able to speak like this in the Spanish stations.
Wow.
So eloquent. That I was a little bit short on that.
What
I
a
didn't,
challenge.
and I still not that
Well, we
good,
have
but
about
you know we do good.
2 minutes to go. In these last 2 minutes of this covering 25 years, what's your last thought?
Hi. My last thought is that I can't believe it. I can't believe that 25 years ago, I find myself at 73. It's been a marvelous career. I really thank all the people that made it happen, beginning with the staff of the community college, the technicians, the producers, the directors, over the years, and some have already passed. I thank Danny Mata for coming back to El Paso and saying, I'm going to listen to my father-in-law.
Wow.
We do need a program for seniors in this community. And for the community to have accepted us into their living rooms, into their homes, and come through like that, being loyal viewers. I want to thank them. It just seems like it's unbelievable that 25 years have passed.
Just
Leon?
25 years.
Gosh.
Think what you can do in the next 25 years.
Let me tell you, we may have to pass the baton.
I think so.
Thank you for.
Well, thanks for bringing me along with you for the past 25 years. It's been wonderful. Thank you very much.
A good friend. Thank you.
And there's another program that we call Mature Living. I'm guest host Leon Blevins with master host Mary Yanez.
My guest is Mary Yanez, who is the activities coordinator for the senior adult program here at El Paso Community College. Welcome, Mary.
Thank you for inviting me.
Tell me, please, how did this program get started? What was the incentive for it?
Well, 1984, the institution, the community college, realized that because of the population growth of seniors in the community, that we needed to take the leadership to develop and provide relevant educational programs and services for seniors in this community.
I'm Mary Yanez, the director of the Senior Adult Program, and this is Mature Living. And you know, you've seen these hats before. You've seen these ladies dressed in purple and red.
I'm Queen Renee.
You're Queen Renee. And then we've got also Linnell Holt, who is the Queen Busy Bee.
Yes. The spirit soars across the mind, releasing memories.
All the people in El Paso that made bowls, people from churches, people from the Girl Scouts, people from Ronald McDonald House,
The mayor.
all the students,
The mayor,
the mayor
Came and made-
yes, he made bowls, and
Put them all to work.
right. So I'm very grateful for all these people that made bowls.
We always bring you things for the community, for the seniors, through the El Paso Community College Senior Adult Program.
And we took just enough time to change hats. What do you think? Boy, are we really playing the role of cowgirls and cowboys here in Socorro.